Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and today we're going to be looking at Dragons Down. So, a while back, this would have been a few years ago now, I took a somewhat extensive look at an old board game called Magic Realm. And Magic Realm was originally released in 1979. And, I don't play a whole lot of games nowadays that are from the 70s. But I think there's two that really stand out for me as just being something unique that has never been replicated. One of those is Cosmic Encounter, and the other is Magic Realm. So I did a bunch of videos on Tabletop Simulator of Magic Realm, so you can look those up if you're interested. But Magic Realm is an extremely kind of complex game to learn. Actually playing it, like once you know how to play it, things clip along at a good pace. But getting into it for the first time, especially with no one to teach you or anything like that, is very tricky. I mean, it took me like days of just like studying, not even the rule book, because learning it just through the rule book is crazy. But somebody put together like 12 years ago a tutorial project. 282 pages of a tutorial. Just to kind of walk you through step by step how the game works. It's very complicated. Just because there's so many obtuse rules and the way things work are just they're not built off of like any other modern games that have like preceded it. It's just kind of its own thing, and it's like a different language you have to learn. But once you do, it's a wonderful experience, and there's really nothing like it. Until now! Because now we have Dragons Down, which is a game that claims to be inspired by the classic board game Magic Realm. That is the understatement of the century, for sure, because it pretty much is Magic Realm, just modified enough that he can sell it. Like, it certainly wears the inspiration on its sleeve. And if you know how to play Magic Realm, and you come into Dragons Down, you're going to pick it up pretty quickly, because a lot of stuff is quite similar. That being said, there is a lot of streamlining that has been done. A lot of modernization that has been done. Just to make it more accessible, make it easier to understand, and kind of just bring it into the modern era. Now, yes, some things are lost in the process. But the core experience, I think, is still there, and with like expansions and stuff, it could add back in things that are not there, and maybe even add a bunch of new stuff. You know, who knows? So, I'm gonna walk you through how to play Dragons Down. You do not have to understand how to play Magic Realm to get this. And in fact, if I sat down in front of Magic Realm right now and tried to play it, I probably would struggle a little bit. I haven't played it in a while, and there's a lot of rules that I would probably fuck up on. But Dragons Down. So we're gonna be starting Well, first of all, this is on Tabletop Simulator. This is like the official TTS module for Dragon's Down, which the official module here does include the expansion as well. The first one, Desolation, which is pretty great because it adds a lot. And so everything is here, fully playable. This is a separate mod that just has the starting scenario set up for ease of use. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's not officially available yet, the board game itself. It was on Kickstarter. You can get in on a late pledge if you want. I did not know Dragon's Down existed until like 3 days ago. So I just got in on a late pledge. I'm very excited about it. But that's all that info. So, yeah, we're going to be doing the first scenario, which is like the introduction for 1 or 2 players. There are more scenarios, and it does go up to 4 players with the base game, I believe 6 with the expansion. So this is just a very small setup. There's only going to be 6 tiles in the game total, whereas if you run the game normally, I want to say you're set up 18. I think that was what the setup was in Magic Realm. Okay, so you deal all the tiles out. Which I guess depends on your terrain packs. Each terrain pack has 6 tiles. You'll play with 3 terrain packs. So yeah, 18. There you go. So we're just going to be doing 1 terrain pack as a mini map of 6 tiles. And the goal of Dragon's Down, for most of the game, modes and scenarios, much like Magic Realm, is to accumulate legend points. So since we're playing solo, we want to retire our character without dying. So if we die, it's over. We want to retire with at least 12 legend points, hopefully 16. And the way to get legend points is listed here. If you reveal an epic treasure, you get an LP. If you're the first to find a treasure site, that's an LP. If you find the Dwarven Ruins / Forgotten City, that's an LP. Learn a spell with a matching cube is 1. Killing monster or native will often give fame. Missions can give LP and or fame. Titles from civilizations that you can acquire will often give LP and or fame. And then when you retire your character, you get +1 LP for every 10 fame that you have to spend. So that's one way to just rack it all up at the end. And if you're actually alive on the map at the end of the game, you are a living legend, so you get another LP. There's a lot of different ways to do it. If you're a big brute melee kind of character that can just slaughter everything, you can just roam around the map and kill all the creatures that pop up everywhere. And you'll accumulate massive amounts of fame, and presuming that you don't die, because I think when you die, you lose half your fame. But if you don't die and you retire, you'll get plenty of LP from all your fame. But if you're not just a combat god, you can go around and just loot treasure and be sneaky, or you can do missions, or you can just kind of explore around and find new things on each map tile, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so that's the goal. Now, in Magic Realm, you had your character, and your character was just like a class. It was a white knight, it was a sorcerer, it was a witch, it was a druid or whatever, a barbarian. Dragons Down, again, a little bit more modern. Now you combine basically a lineage, or a race, as we would call it, with a class. So you can be a dwarf warrior. You can be a halfling illusionist. You can be a human conjurer. Again, it's just a more modern take, and I think it's better. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Just, it adds more customization, more flexibility, more replayability. Because a human warrior is different than a halfling warrior. And so eventually, I'm sure we'll just start rolling up randomly some random combination. But yeah, for now, and the expansion does add 2 more lineages, half elf and half orc, and doubles, I think, the amount of classes. And it's got some cool ones like assassin, bard, witch, a bunch of them. All right, so as for your lineage, as you can see, dwarves get an extra health, so they're a little bit sturdier. Takes more damage for them to die. And health is not quite, I mean, we'll get to all that, but yeah, it's yeah. Then underneath the health icon, you see there's like a hand icon and then a foot icon. So the hand icon is for attack speed. So humans have a higher potential to attack faster. The foot icon is maneuverability. So all the other lineages get a bonus there instead. Which maneuverability is, for one, it makes it so that you are more capable of evading monsters entirely. So if you don't want to fight them and you get into, you get into an encounter with them, you can then evade them and just leave the encounter entirely, and you skip the whole combat. So that's good. But also, if you are in a fight, maneuverability prevents auto hits from occurring. Basically, if the attacker's attack speed is ever a higher number than the target's maneuverability, it's an automatic hit. You don't have to roll to hit. So having maneuverability to at least match the attack speed prevents the auto hit from occurring, which is pretty good. So maneuverability is good, attack speed is good, they're both important. Let's go with just the boring old human, though, for now. And you can see there's male and female versions of all these. The art is okay, although it strikes me as seeming, I don't know, vaguely AI art. I don't know. Maybe the artist just has this style that just seems AI. Like, look at this. Doesn't this seem AI generated? Just the way, like, I don't know, that sort of background, what are they, the depth of field thing, and I don't know. I don't think it is, but I guess it could be. Maybe it is. Oh god, it's hard to tell, isn't it? That's worrisome. I don't think it is. But there's some, like, why does he have different colored bracers? Like, why is there fur here but no fur here? Like, why is this mismatched? Like, what exactly is happening with these, I don't know, braids? I don't know. It would have to say, right? Let's go to the credits. Give me an artist's name that isn't Midjourney. Artwork. Okay. Yeah, all right. I mean, I don't think it's AI art then if you're listing two artists. Okay. Just odd, I guess. Alright, let's pick this. We'll go female. Now, the other symbols here that I didn't mention. So there's like a brain icon, there's like a little Buddha icon, and then a mask icon. Those do all have meanings. Let's see. Will it say yes? So intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Really, those only have two purposes, and that's when dealing with NPCs, essentially. Either when you're haggling with a merchant or when you're completing a mission, potentially. And so we'll see if those come into play. But humans are more charismatic, elves more intelligent, dwarves just aren't good with people, and halflings are wise. So, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot. And then the last thing is in the lower right. That's a cube. So humans and halflings get an extra brown cube, which typically is used for attack speed or maneuverability. And dwarves get a red might cube, which is usually used for weapons to do more damage. Elves, however, get a magic cube. So one of the different colors of magic cubes that they can pick. Can they pick black? I don't think. Maybe they can. Begin with an extra spell from the... Yeah, I think they can start with black. Okay. So... so they get a cube because, in addition to all this, each lineage also has a passive sort of benefit. So humans' passive benefit is that they get an additional free action when they're in a civilization clearing. So if they're on any tile, if they're on any, like here, we have the keep. This is the keep. So this is where the merchant is. There's some knights here that are friendly. So they get an additional turn for free when they're in there, or additional action. Elves get a free magic spell to start, an extra one, and they have to select a color that matches the cube that they're taking. So they take a green cube, they take a green spell. Dwarves get, basically they nullify the penalty for being in a cave clearing, when normally you lose an action every turn if you are in or move into a cave. So that's pretty good, especially for this map setup. Although there's only 2 cave clearings in this entire map, so I guess it's not that good. But it does mean that they can live and thrive in the barrier tile without much issue. And then halflings, they get to reroll 1 hide die per hide attempt. And hiding is essentially whenever you go into a clearing containing monsters, you get a free hide attempt to try and not go into to avoid being blocked by the monsters, so you can sneak past or do some looting or whatever. So they're a little better at that. All right, so that's that. Now for classes, these also all have wisdom, intelligence, charisma symbols on them. They also all have health icons. So if you roll a human rogue, you will have 1 health. Which is potentially pretty bad, but not... It depends. In that case, like, avoiding combat, pretty good. Armor will very often just save your life entirely. Because basically, if you don't have armor and you take a hit, at that point, even if it's 1 damage, you die. Whereas if you have 3 health, and you take a hit without any armor, if it's like 2 damage, As long as it's not 3 damage, you'll just take a wound, which is not that bad at all. So health is kind of like an all or nothing thing, and it only is all or nothing if you don't have armor. So armor is pretty damn important, especially if you do not have much health. A knight can often just like tank the shit out of stuff, just by nature of being who they are. But anyways, then there's spots for attack speed and maneuverability. So a human knight has 4 slots for attack speed, which is quite a lot. That's the most in the game. But they're only going to have 1 slot for maneuverability. So a human knight is never evading anything, and they're pretty much always going to be auto-hit. So they often rely on just killing stuff first before they even get a chance to be attacked. The first time I played through, I was a human knight, and I found it quite easy. Then there's all the cubes they get at the bottom, so some more brown cubes, some red cubes, potentially some magic cubes. And then there's the equipment that they start with in the lower right. And there's 2 different sides for each card, and the equipment loadout is different for each side. So the one side for Knight gets Chainmail, Longsword, Shield, and a gold. The other side gets Morningstar, Chainmail, 11 gold. So sometimes you can start with like 15 gold or something like that, and other times you can start with no gold. It's all kind of balanced based around the equipment loadouts. Then finally, every class has their own benefit. So, archers may reroll 1 ranged attack die per attack. Barbarians can reroll 1 die during each search action performed in a mountain clearing. That's actually really good for this scenario. We might go with that. Clerics can actually reroll any summoning die roll that would bring new monsters in. And if those would bring in undead monsters, they get to be re-rolled. So, if you're going to be in some tiles that have strong threat of undead, that's pretty handy to have. And these sort of things kind of just dictate a little bit of where you might travel to and where you might hang out more. Barbarians are probably going to lean towards going into mountain areas. Clerics are going to lean more towards undead areas. Things like that. I won't read all of these, especially because we're not going to be doing a magic character. Knights can rest to heal an additional cube when performing a rest action. Rogues can actually evade if they tie the maneuverability speed rather than having to surpass it, but they do have to roll a couple hit die. Warriors can always unequip 1 weapon card and equip another weapon card at the end of each combat round. Which I don't know how great that is, but yeah, I mean, I don't know enough yet. Alright, so let's be a human barbarian. I kind of like that combo. It's a pretty basic combo. We're going to be just smashing a lot of stuff, but it'll be fun. So we can either start with an Iron Helm, Great Axe, 17 gold, or spend a little gold and swap the Great Axe for a Battle Axe and Shield. So I want to look at these items. So the iron... So here's the shield. Here's the Great Axe. Here's the battle axe. And here's the iron helm. I think that was... Yes. Okay. Okay, so the main things we're looking at here are the axes. So, mainly what we care about, among other things, is the bottom part with the red squares. So the dark red, those are mandatory slots. So if I want to use the Great Axe, I have to commit 3 red might cubes to that card. And so plenty of characters are not going to even have 3 cubes. Most of them are not going to have 3 cubes. So only a couple characters out of the gate can use a Great Axe. Although if you play a dwarf, that offers a bit more flexibility. So you could actually be a dwarf archer and use a Great Axe. So you have to commit all the red ones, the dark red. And then any ones beyond that, the pale red, that's optional. You can add another one if you have it to add 1 more damage. Then there's the sword icon. So if you manage to... If you get it... Well, if you have it so that there's a might cube on a sword icon, that will add an additional 1 damage of sharpness, which is nullified if the target is armored. So that's why you see that icon on the shield and the iron helm, because if you use these in battle, you will nullify a sharpness icon. So obviously, you know, that's how it works for like PvP, but for PvE, you can see some enemies have a shield over their health there, and some do not have a shield. So if they have a shield, that will nullify 1 sharpness. And if they have a sword icon on their damage, that means that they will do a sharpness, which is then nullified by having armor. So most targets are going to be armored, unfortunately, but in this scenario, giants notably are not going to be armored. But this means that if we look at the Great Axe and I commit 3 cubes to it, with the Great Axe, we can easily one-shot everything here. Because even if we lose the sharpness, due to them being armored, it will do 3 damage. Ogre, 3 health. Juvenile Dragon, 2 health. Orc Lord, 3 health. Water Elemental, 3 health. Adult Dragon, 3 health. Giant, 3 health. Griffin, 3 health. So committing that that 4th cube is almost never going to be necessary. Now that being said, the Battle Axe can also do 3 cubes to do 3 damage. It just can't do that 4th damage, but we don't even have a 4th might cube at the moment. So, and the odds of you ever getting a 4th might cube are kind of slim. The really only way you're going to do it is with a couple specific treasure items. Now, the Great Axe takes 2 hands, 2 weapon slots. Battle Axe is 1, which is why it allows you to use a shield. The other difference really is the weapon length. So this has a weapon length of 8, this has 14. That only really matters if you tie on attack speed with your target or with a monster. So if a tie for attack speed, you break the tie with weapon length. So 14 is longer. And if we look at the monsters, you can see like the Orc Lord has a 10 attack speed here by default. So we could actually beat that or not that, depending on our weapon. Ogre has 8. so I don't think it matters there. Giant has 18, doesn't really matter there. So it's a pretty specific situation where this would be an important factor. As for armor, so there's different slots for armor. There's a head slot, a torso slot, and then you can have a shield on a weapon slot. They each have an armor value. And it doesn't reduce damage or anything like that. That's just kind of a factor of basically, like, when you use a piece of armor to block an attack, it basically is a factor of, is my armor going to be damaged by this attack, or is it going to be destroyed by the attack? That's pretty much what that value is. The 2+ underneath it, that's how many healthy might cubes you have to have on your character to be able to have this equipped and to use it. So as long as we have at least 2 healthy might cubes, we can use these pieces of equipment. All in all, I mean, we're kind of hoping to just bum rush single targets with a high attack speed. So I lean towards the Great Axe, but for an unarmored target, I have to commit less cubes for the Battle Axe to probably get a killing blow. So I'm leaning towards the Battle Axe, I suppose. Let's go with that. And we also will start with 8 gold in that scenario. Okay, so there's our shit. Yeah, I'll clean this up. Iron Helm, Battle Axe, okay. Alright, so then our health is 3. So we're gonna take 3 hearts. We get a total of 4 brown cubes. And 3 red cubes. Haphazardly placed. Okay. That's all that done. And we get 8 gold. Alright, I think we're good there. We also get our tokens. And at the start of the first turn of the game, we are going to be entering the map from... We're going to go into a clearing from any path extending off the map. So we can go into here, we can go into here, and go into here, here, you know, any of these. We don't give a shit about mountains. Normally, okay, so normally you have 4 actions per turn. So theoretically, you could move 4 times in one turn if you wanted. Mountains, however, mountains and swamps, which we don't have, those require 2 move actions to move into. So it requires 2 of your 4 to move into one. Caves reduce your action count by 1 if you start your turn in them or enter them on your turn. And you can't have spent 3 actions and then spend your 4th one to go into a cave. So it, you know, you have to account for the penalty. So, but for us, mountains are the same as any other type of clearing, and it's just 1 move. So why don't we go into the narrow ridges here? We'll enter there. And now the game has begun. So in Magic Realm, you had to write down your 4 actions for the turn. before the round began. And in this game, you do it much more modern. You just take your 4 actions as you do your turn. There is differences then in how that resolves. One of the major things is the hide action. In Magic Realm, you could commit some of your actions to hiding, so that you wouldn't be kind of attacked by monsters because you were hidden. But hiding in Magic Realm and in this game is a dice roll, with a chance of success. And so what that meant in Magic Realm is that you might commit 2 of your 4 actions before the round starts to say, I'm gonna hide. I'm gonna do 2 hide attempts. And you might successfully hide on your first action, meaning that your second action, your second hide attempt, is pointless because you're already hidden. So you've wasted one of your actions. In this game, it wouldn't really work the same way because you're doing your actions one by one. So hide would be quite a bit more powerful. I mean, that was the big balancing factor in Magic Realm, was that you don't know when or if you're going to succeed on your hide attempts. Whereas here, you could just say, okay, I hide. Oh, I failed. Okay, I'll hide. Oh, all right, I succeeded. So now I don't have to hide anymore. And then you know. So in Dragon's Down, hiding is now a reaction. Basically, if you ever move into a tile, a clearing, containing monsters, you do a reaction to see if you successfully hide. And you basically get like 1 chance. I mean, personally, I kind of prefer Magic Realm in that aspect. I think that's a really unique, interesting system, specifically in relation to hiding. But yeah, I mean, this again is much more modern, much easier to understand, blah blah blah. There is then a sneak action you can do now, which allows you to ignore a failure result on all your hide die rolls this turn. So you can prepare yourself to hide. But the main thing that was lost here is that if I am a human barbarian, there's nothing that I can do during my turn to prevent monsters from engaging me if they are summoned at the end of the round. I can't preemptively hide. So I just kind of have to sit out in the open, and then monsters will show up, and then I either have to be able to evade them to avoid the fight, or I'm in the fucking fight. Whereas in Magic Realm, it doesn't matter who you are, whether a human barbarian or not, you could spend part of your turn hiding or trying to hide, and then you knew that you were going to be safe. Well, I mean, there was a good, depending on how many actions you committed to hiding, you knew that you were going to be safe from any monsters that might show up. So that's kind of what was lost in the process, is that my human barbarian can't preemptively avoid encounters. Now, we probably don't want to avoid encounters, but that is kind of a factor. I understand the change, but it's a bit of a bummer. Alright, anyways. So, we had 4 actions here. You can see here there's a hidden path in purple. So this is potentially a path to skip over to this clearing, but we have to find it first. So you'd have to do a search action, which basically means rolling these 2 dice, and both of them have to come up with a spyglass. And I think, yeah, it's 50-50 for each die. So basically, that's a 25% chance of success. Now, if you search multiple times in the same turn, you can just re-roll any blank dice to give you a better chance of success if you roll one of them. But that is committing a chunkier turn. When instead we could just go 1, 2, 3, and 4 and be out of this clearing. But before we do any of that, we do have to put down a token. So whenever a character enters a clearing, a tile for a first time, you're going to draw one of these tokens. And this is specific to this terrain pack. So this terrain pack is the Malevolent Mountains. That includes these different tokens. It includes a civilization, the Keep, which has 2 knights and has this title available. It includes 3 treasure sites, a chamber, a crypt, and a hoard. And each treasure site contains a different amount and type of treasure, as well as a guardian, a great drake, a titan, and a lich. And then finally at the keep is a merchant of some type. So at the keep is a scholar. He has 4 treasures, 2 items, and 4 missions available. So missions, I think, were like an optional rule or something in Magic Realm, like a supplementary rule. Here it's in the base game. I think it's great. I think it's really good. Missions are a lot of fun. So we don't have that many missions to choose from one terrain pack. We only have 7 to choose from, and actually several of them are not applicable because they're based on like traveling to another civilization site or something like that. So our mission selection for this tutorial scenario is pretty limited. But anyways, so let's flip over this tile. We got a site. So that is a treasure site. So we have the crypt. That's going to go on number 5, which is where we are, baby. All right, so the crypt. So, the guardian of the crypt is the Lich, obviously. He does not necessarily show up now, or necessarily ever. It's a dice roll at the end of each round if we're on this tile. So we may never see the Lich, and we may see him at the end of this turn. You know, we'll see. But before we get into any of that, we have to find the crypt if we want to loot it. And we do want to loot it, because of course. So finding it is also a search action. Same rules as finding the hidden path. I don't know, do you have to declare what you're searching for? When a hero searches, they select one of 2 options. Okay, so you do have to declare what you're searching for. That makes sense. So we're going to try and find the crypt for our first action of the game. We're going to roll our 2 search dice. Alright, so we got 1 spyglass, 1 not. So for our second search action, we're going to re-roll the blank one. Alright, we got it. So 2 actions, we found the crypt. And so since we are the first person to find a treasure site, to find this treasure site, we get an LP and 5 fame. Good. We're on our way. Alright, now that we've found the crypt, we can start looting the crypt. And the crypt has 5 deep treasures and 1 normal treasure. So, the deep treasures go on top. Which is really, counterintuitive, I think. Place the treasure cards on the treasure site location on the Terran on the terrain setup card. Place the deep treasures on top of the treasure cards. And this is again just due to taking a Magic Realm rule and the way it does it there. and just because it is harder to get the cards on top, as you'll see. So, deep treasure, deep treasure, deep treasure, deep treasure, deep treasure, treasure. And this is actually good, because this is a lot of deep treasures, which are better. So for our third action, we're going to roll the 2 loot dice to try and loot this place. And we will succeed. You roll both of these. And most of the faces of these dice are numbers. So you're going to roll 2 of them, and whatever the higher number is, that's the card that you're going to take. So you're more likely to get a higher number, which means you're going to take one from down further in the pile. And that means that when there's only like 2 treasures left, you have to roll a 1 or a 2 as your high number to get one of those. When there's 1 treasure left, it's very difficult to get that last one because it's like really hidden. It's the deepest of the treasures. So that's why it's a little counterintuitive, but it does work. And it worked in Magic Realm, and it works here. So we get the 3rd treasure, which is this one. And we have found the Wand of the Magician. Ho ho ho. Alright, so this is worth 12 gold if we were to sell it. It has a red banner, which means that it is an epic treasure. And whenever you find an epic treasure and you reveal it, which really only matters if you're playing with other people, you get another LP and 5 more fame. So we're actually already at 3 LP if we were to retire at this moment. Alright, and the Wand of the Magician goes in a weapon slot, and then it has an effect, which is kind of outlined there with iconography. But let's just look it up. When casting targeted spells, may reroll 1 or 2 hit dice on each hit dice roll. Wow. That is pretty good if you happen to have a targeted spell. We don't have any spells, so it's kind of useless to us. We're going to put it in our backpack. We're probably going to sell it. But at the very least, we got an LP and some fame out of finding it. So I'm happy. For our 4th and final action, let us loot one more time. Alright, so we got the grab icon. If you get 2 grab icons, you get to look at the top 3 cards and pick one, which is really great. But our other die was a 5, so we take the 5th treasure, which is Enchanted Treasure. So this is instant use, so it gets used right away. We're going to draw a treasure card from the pool to replace this treasure. The map tile in which the treasure was drawn is then flipped over and enchanted. Place a magic cube in the map tile matching the color magic cube shown in the enchantment circle on the enchanted treasure card. Alright. So a little bit complicated, but we're going to... Flipping this doesn't really matter. Yes, there's no difference. So I don't know if the tiles in the board game itself are going to be different when you flip them. Again, it's borrowing a rule from Magic Realm. But in here, you pick a specific color when you enchant a tile. And basically, this tile is now kind of suffused with purple magic. And so if you were to cast any purple magic spell in this tile, it would require 1 less purple cube to cast. And if I were to get into a fight, actually, with... If I were to get into a fight while on this tile now, and I had the Strength spell, which requires a purple cube, like, I would just instantly be able to cast it, even if I don't even have a purple cube. So there's that. But I don't have any spells, so again, it's kind of useless. But we do get to just replace it with a treasure card. And so our real treasure is the Dagger of Bite. Alright. So this has an attack, a weapon length of 0 if you're using it in melee. You can throw it, however, for an attack length of 22, which is something. It's melee or range, because you can throw it. It goes in a weapon slot. And it requires 1 might cube, but it has 2 sharpness icons. And so what that means then is that if I'm attacking an unarmored target, say I'm attacking a giant, it's an unarmored target with 3 health, I could commit 1 might cube, and I could throw it and instantly kill him. It's pretty good. So for now, I'm tempted to actually just equip this in my other hand. For when we encounter an unarmored target, I can just chuck that. Which is pretty good. Pretty good. And a big factor, actually, for like the cube situation is that normally you can only put down 5 cubes during a combat round. So I can put 3 cubes into attack speed, but then I have to put 2 into my battle axe, and then I can't put any into maneuverability. So that's a big factor. If you spend an action during your turn to become alert, then you can play an additional brown cube. So 5 cubes of whatever, and then 1 more brown cube wherever you want. But you do have to spend an action and kind of prepare yourself for combat. So normally it's just 5. Okay, that's good. That's good, good, good. That was my 4 actions. That was my first turn. Quite a successful one, I think. Pretty nice. Okay. Now, after all the players have taken their 4 actions in player order, and player order is determined randomly every turn, which is kind of annoying, I think. Is it? Every turn? Yeah, every turn. That's not an elegant way to do it. I'm just going to say that. And I think when I do end up playing with other people, it's probably going to be clockwise. And then every turn, the starting player just shifts 1 over. That's usually how things are done. It's relatively fair. And it's just uncomplicated. Random turn order every turn. It's just... Yeah. Because in Magic Realm, everyone writes down their 4 actions before the round starts in secret. And then it all kind of happens like... You know, it just happens. Things can get fucked up. It happens. But, yeah. Alright. So after everyone's taken their turns, you're going to roll the 4 summoning dice. So there's 2 white, 2 black, and one of the whites and one of the black have different symbols on them. Okay. And then one of the white and one of the black have numbers on them. Mostly 1s, but there is a 2 and a 3 in there. And this basically determines what kind of monsters are summoned and how many of them. But quite often, especially when playing solo, no monsters will appear. Because the icons that show up have to match the icons on the tile you're on. So for here, we only care if this mountain icon shows up or this like weird trilobite symbol shows up. That's it. So we're going to roll these 4. And we've got this stench icon and the woods icon. So nothing shows up, nothing mattered, like there's no monsters. We're perfectly safe. And that's it. So that's the whole second phase, the battle phase. Because no monsters are activated. Technically, and I think they could do a little bit... I mean, it's hard to say. Technically, you always do a combat, like, round. Technically, I guess you always do 2 combat rounds. Even if there's no monsters anywhere on the map, you know, you still do a combat round because there are a few things that you can do. One is you can shuffle around your equipment. You can unequip one card and equip one card. So I don't know, actually, when I gain a treasure, if I'm allowed to equip it immediately. I think you are. You can decide whether to equip the card, place it face up in a valid equipment location. See equipping in other rules. Oh yeah, if they choose to equip a card, you unequip any cards already in that location. You may not equip other cards, nor unequip cards not in the location. Okay. Heroes may not equip more than one weapon in their weapon location. Oh, okay, well then that is... Okay, then I did that wrong. Okay. So yes, if you want to equip your dagger of bite, you kind of have to commit to it. Unless... The only exception is if you're hidden and you start combat. Because if you're going to combat while you're hidden, you can potentially... Well, you can just sit for a round, swap your equipment, and then, like, hit them. And actually, because it's a dagger that we can throw, we could ambush a target as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. But alright, that's good to know. And when you do an alert action, you can freely equip and unequip any card. Alright, where was I? What was I doing? Right, oh yeah. So, even if you're just sitting here, no monsters, you can unequip one card and equip one card. And you can also cast a spell. And actually, many spells are kind of based on that fact, that you can just do them at the end of a round. So like Trailblaze. This allows you to basically ignore any sort of penalties for movement. And you can move into any one clearing for each move action. But the only time you can really cast spells is during the combat round. So you kind of have to be just sitting there without any monsters at the end of your turn, and then cast this, and then the next turn, this is in effect for you. Like Charm, which is a factor for haggling and mission dice rolls. You kind of have to cast this at the end of a turn, and the next turn you do those like dice rolls, things like that. Now there are certain cards that are activated at the start of a combat round instead of at like the end of a combat round or during a combat round, but we're not getting into Magic, so whatever. But yeah, so the combat round always happens is the main thing. And they probably could emphasize that a little bit more. But I mean, it does say here, combat occurs even if no monsters are present. Alright, but other than that, we move on to the next turn. And we're gonna keep looting. We want to loot this crypt good. At least a couple more cards. Alright, fourth treasure. The Bejeweled Breastplate. So this is worth 17 gold, which is quite a bit. It's... I mean, it's really no better than my iron helm in any way. And really, the defining feature of this is that it's worth 17. So I think for us, we probably just throw that in the backpack. I mean, I guess I could equip it. Whatever. But we might sell it. Second action. Another loot. We got the third treasure. We're getting lucky. Decimation. Oh, boy. All right. So this is worth 12 bucks. It's got an attack or a weapon length of 10. It's an epic treasure. So no matter what, we're taking the LP. I mean, look, we're 2 turns in. We've basically done almost nothing. We have 3 LP already. And the defining feature of this is that you may place a black spell cube on it to increase the damage by 1. But even aside from that, placing 1 cube will do 2 damage to an unarmored target, which is not shabby. But this is mostly a good card for, obviously, magic users. Placing 1 might cube to get 2 damage on unarmored, and the fact you can place a black spell cube to throw in another damage, it's pretty great. For us, though, the battle axe is generally better. But it's 12 bucks, and we got the LP, so I'm quite happy. Alright, third action, we may as well try one more time. And we got the first treasure. The magical bowl of mixing. Alright, another magic thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Basically, we can swap around magic cubes. We can get an exact definition if we want. Blue magic cube placed on this treasure permanently converts a single magic cube from one color to another color, as shown. Useless for us. Gotten a lot of magical items for our barbarian, but it's an 11 buck treasure, and it's an epic treasure. Look at that. Very nice. For our fourth and final action, let's just be on alert, just in case the Lich shows up. Could be handy. Alright, then with that, we do another summoning roll. Okay, and we got orcs and caves, so neither of that matches us. The only way the Lich shows up, by the way, is if we roll this symbol. This is the Sight Guardian symbol. So that's the only way. Alright, our turn again. Let's try and find... I don't know, do I want to bother with this hidden path? Yeah, I guess we do, because I'd have to find this one. This is actually... It was kind of a shitty way to enter, to be honest. It worked out in our favor tremendously, but kind of shitty. So let's search for our first action. We're no longer alert. Searching for second action. Searching for third action. Searching for fourth action. Yes. Okay. We have found this path. And you just kind of have to, like, remember, I guess, that you alone have found this path and you can always use it, but no one else can. Yeah, it's... Again, you can tell that this game just borrowed a lot of stuff from Magic Realm. It didn't go full overboard and, like, rebuild the entire game from the ground up. So there are still some oddities that I just kind of, like, you know, I'm a fan of because I like Magic Realm. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how other people take to it. All right. So that was our whole turn, was finding that path. Summoning roll. We got swamps and scratches, so nothing once again. On our turn, we're going to go 1. We're going to go 2. We're going to go 3. And now we're in civilization. So we get a free turn as being a human here. And mostly what we want to do here is the trade action. So one thing that we can do is if we are eligible to complete the title, we can do that. We are not. To do this, you have to spend 40 gold, and you have to have killed enough monsters to accumulate over 30 fame from them. We've not killed anything, surprisingly. So we're not eligible for the title. So the only other major thing you want to do here is talk to the merchant. So we want to talk to the scholar. So we're going to do a trade action as our 4th action. And as part of that, you get to do a whole bunch of things. You get to look at his inventory. You can buy one thing. You can sell any number of things. And you can take up to 2 missions. And you can do all of that with one trade action. So let's look at his shit. Let's look at his shit. He's got 4 treasures. He's got 2 items. He's got 4 missions. I don't know why I shuffled. Alright, let's just lay all this out. Ooh, the Tome of the Black Arts. So we can actually take that if we wanted a black cube for decimation. Cursed treasure. Great. Alright, so cursed treasure we have to immediately resolve. Unfortunately. So we're going to draw a treasure card from the pool to replace this card. Then roll on the curse table to determine a curse that affects the hero. Even if we viewed the treasure at a merchant, then remove it from the game. So it's really shitty. The scholar's just like, hey, look at this dumbass. And he fucking cursed us. So the replacement for that is the symbol of knowledge. Which is shitty. And we have to roll for our curse. So I have actually not encountered curse. We roll 1d6 for row and 1d6 for column. And it's just a d6. Okay. So I guess here's our row. Or a column. Our column is 1. Oh, so I guess it's odd. Okay, it's on the right side. And then our row is 6. Unlucky. We reroll our lowest die per loot attempt. Okay. Honestly, all things considered, that's not the worst thing we could get. Like, -1 weapon damage, I feel, would be pretty rough for us. But, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, well, that was fun, asshole. What else we got? We got the Earthen Cincture, which provides us a green spell cube while this is equipped. The Symbol of Knowledge, basically, every turn you can do a free action to do a learn spell action. Useless for us. Tome of the Black Arts is a black magic cube, permanently, one-time use. Kind of worthless for us outside of decimation, which I'm not sure if I really want to use. And then Digger's Ruin. We can reroll 1 search die once per action while in a cave clearing. Pretty useless. This is not a great selection. There's also leather armor and shield. Blah, blah, blah. The only thing that's really of potential is buying the Earthen Cincture just because it's an epic treasure, so we'd get another LP out of it. And if you were playing with other people, you'd be looking at all these cards privately. So no one else would know what's the merchant has until they go to look at his stuff. So you have to purchase that epic treasure in order to reveal it to get the LP. So right now it's just in there, and you could let it sit there and hope that no one else comes to the merchant and buys it. But it is what it is. We only have 8 gold, and all of these have a price value in the upper right, but the base price, the default price for all these items, is 3 times that. So if I want to just buy the earthen cincture, it's 36 gold. And that's where haggling comes in. Haggling is based on the symbol represented by the merchant. So the scholar respects intelligence. So you're haggling him with intelligence. Our intelligence is 2. And so when we haggle, we'd roll these 2 haggle dice. And if any of them come up with this shut door symbol, our trade action ends. And that's the end of it. We have to do another trade action. But if no door symbol comes up, you look at the highest number that does come up. And if that number is higher than your amount of that symbol, so it's higher than our 2 intelligence, we have failed in our haggling. And I think... Okay, so if you get the closed door, you actually can't trade with him for the rest of your turn, which is pretty rough. If you get a higher number than your haggle number, the trade action ends, but you can just trade with him right away again if you want. If you roll less than or equal to your haggle number, you reduce the price by a factor of 1. So it's only 2 times instead of 3 times. So if you want to pay that base price, you have to succeed on 2 haggles in 1 turn, which is tricky. You may spend a few turns trying to accomplish that when you could be off adventuring. So it's hard to say. In our case, playing solo with no turn limit, there really isn't much of a reason why you wouldn't just sit here and haggle over and over and over. Because no monsters will ever appear on this tile. This is a civilization tile. It has no monster symbols. At least that's how I interpreted it. And I read this a bunch of times. Wait a minute. What? Oh, I feel like I fundamentally... Okay. I think this is not my fault. So this mod, which has this setup, was actually using a slightly older version of this rulebook. And I actually just imported this version of the rulebook from the main mod, which is now up to date. So I don't remember it saying this in the other version, but unblocked heroes may wish to take a hide reaction at the end of monster activation. So you actually can hide after monsters get summoned and before they get into a fight with you, which is really key. That's just what I was kind of complaining about at the start. Okay, that's great to know. That's great to know. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty certain we don't even have to bother with monster summoning. I really don't think so. Because there's no monster symbols. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're fine. This is civilization. We're all good. Okay. So that was my point, was that there's no reason you wouldn't just sit here and try and haggle for a while. Before we contemplate that, let's look at the missions. We've got a Dragon Slayer mission to kill 2 or more juvenile dragons and then return to the keep to hand it in. And to hand this in, you cannot be an outlaw. And certain things will make you an outlaw, but you can't be an outlaw to hand this in. It will reward 0 gold, 1 LP, 5 fame, and then its mission die is wisdom, which means that when you hand it in, you roll 1 mission die for every wisdom you have. And that can potentially reward you more gold and fame. Giant Hunter is basically the same thing, but to kill 2 or more giants, and it rewards 1 extra LP. Old books. Deliver the old books to the scholar. If already in the same clearing as the scholar, discard and draw a new mission. Let's do that. Black Follower. Acquire a weapon that is also an epic treasure. Complete the mission at the crypt and remove the treasure from the game. This will reward 0 gold, 1 LP, 20 fame, mission die of intelligence, and I think this will make you an outlaw, which is spicy. Oh no. Okay, so when you complete Giant Hunter, Dragon Slayer, you discard an outlaw token, if you have one. Okay, so heroes receive 1 outlaw token as follows. For each native they kill or subdue, I like that it says in the game. Have to specify. If you kill a native in real life, you do not become an outlaw in Dragon's Down. Complete an atrocity mission as shown on the card, red banner. Killing another hero that is not an outlaw. Heroes may discard 1 outlaw token they already possess as follows. Complete a quest mission as shown on the card, white banner, so that's what that is. Outlaw tokens negatively impact your ability to haggle with merchants. And during endgame scoring or retirement, outlaw tokens may reduce the LPs and or fame of a hero prior to scoring. So yes, basically, you don't want to be an outlaw. There's no benefit to being an outlaw. But by handing in one of these white missions, we can get rid of it. So there's also Alpiner. Enter a clearing on all 5 mountain tiles. That'll give 20 gold, 1 LP, 5 fame. But let's go for Black Follower and Giant Hunter. And if we complete both of these, that'll give us a total of 3 LP, 25 fame at least. And then we'll get and remove an outlaw token. I think that's good. So you can take up to 2 missions if you want. And it is replenished at the end of the turn, but there's not many more missions left. Okay, as for the Earthen Cincture, we want to sell the Magical Bowl of Mixing. We want to use the Decimation for Black Follower. We want to sell Wand of the Magician. So we're looking at... Oh, and we were going to sell the Bejeweled Breastplate. So, I mean, that's, what, 39... No, 29... 40. That's 40 gold right there. I don't think we even need to haggle. I'm not even going to bother. I get, but there's no reason not to. Right? Just spend my life here haggling. So our haggle number for intelligence is 2. So let's just haggle. Okay, he shut the door. So that's the end of the turn. And now we start a new turn. You know, nothing else happens. He shut the door. That's the end of our turn. Jesus. If you're playing multiplayer, I mean, this is an insane waste of your time. And I feel like the game is kind of more geared towards multiplayer, which is more interesting. So we got a 3 there. That's no good. We got a door. That's the end of our turn. Or you probably want to impose a turn limit if you're playing by yourself, because otherwise you get into shenanigans like this. Yeah. I mean, this is shenanigans. I can't get a 2 to save my life. I don't even know if there is a 2. There may not be, from the looks of it. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, this is a perfect example of why you wouldn't haggle. You can see how long it takes if you have a number of 2. And those door symbols, I mean, those pop up, dude. Haggling is... Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna just go with that. We're not gonna waste any more time. So I'm gonna pay double for 24 gold, which gives me a total of 16 when all's said and done. Putting me at 24 gold. So gold does not contribute in any way towards LP at the end of a game. There's nothing. For your LP, basically for every 10 fame that you discard when you retire, you get an LP. If you're retiring on the last turn of the game, you receive an LP. Or, you know, I guess if you retire and the game is over because you're playing solo, I think you get an LP for surviving. There's a penalty or potentially a bonus if you're an outlaw. And that's it. So really, the only way gold transfers to LP is if you're buying epic treasures, like we are now, or you spend it to gain a title, like here. So for us, if we kill this shit and we spend 40 gold, we get 2 LP and 10 fame, which is really 3 LP for the most part. So we got that, and that gives us an LP and 5 fame. And we could just sell this back immediately for 12 bucks if we wanted to, because the green cube is not that useful. But for now, I'm going to take my damn green cube. I paid for it. Alright, I don't know what number action that was for this turn. Say it was the second action. It was my free action. So, we've got 3 more. We want to go to the crypt. So 1, 2, 3. Done. And we're going to roll the summoning dice now. Okay, we did get the mountain symbol with the number 1. So that means we are going to get 1 juvenile dragon. So we're going to take out a juvenile dragon. So now, monster activation is done. And we get to attempt a hide action, which is pretty fun. Okay, we are actually hidden. We are successfully hidden. Now, we are hidden, but the combat phase still plays out. Okay, so if you have a ranged weapon, such as a bow or a dagger you can throw, you can do an ambush action. which pretty much allows you to do a combat round, but the monster does not target you. So you just get a free round of attack on it, which is not necessarily an auto hit or anything. That still depends on attack speed and maneuverability. But you get a free round where they are not attacking you. And then if you do the ambush, you have to do another hide roll at the end to see if you're still hidden. If you just have a melee weapon, though, you cannot do an ambush. You cannot do a sneak attack unless you're playing the expansion and you're playing as the assassin, which is really cool. So hidden heroes without a ranged weapon cannot do the target step, the hero tactic step, or resolve steps of combat explained below. Basically, the resolve step. Now, I believe you do still do the monster tactics roll to see if they flip. But other than that, like, we skip a lot of these steps. We can choose to become unhidden if we just want to step out and smack them, which we could do. But I'm kind of amused by the idea of throwing this dagger. So, if we don't do anything, if we don't use any items or cast any spells, we don't have to roll to stay hidden. We are just hidden. And if 2 rounds of combat go by where nothing happens, essentially, where without any hero or monster taking a wound or dying, combat ends in the clearing. So you can just sit here hidden for 2 rounds, nothing happens, and then the combat's over and your turn begins. So that's how you can just stay hidden if we wanted to avoid dealing with the dragon whatsoever. But what we're gonna do, well, let's look at the juvenile dragon first. So the juvenile dragon, this is its default stats, and it can do a dice roll where 50-50 it will flip to this side, but this is the default stats. It will attack with a weapon length of 0, because it's not shown, for 3 damage. It has an attack speed of 1. It has a maneuverability of 2. It has 2 health. It's armored. It's also flying, but that's not really a factor. And it gives 10 fame upon being killed. So, if we want to one-shot this, we cannot throw a dagger. Because our dagger of bite, if thrown, will do 1 damage and then 2 sharpness. And the armor that they have will block 1 of the sharpness. Actually, no, that'll still do 2 damage. Let me confirm this, that armor doesn't nullify all the sharpness. I'm pretty sure... If the attack has 1 or more sword icons on it and the target is armored, reduce base damage by 1. Okay. So, yes, we could actually kill it. However, as a ranged attack, we have to roll the ranged dice. So whenever you use a ranged attack, you roll both of these and you take the worst result. So this is -1 +1. So in that case, we actually would not kill it. In this case, -2 -1. So we would do nothing to it. In this case, we would do base damage and kill it. So it's a risk. It's definitely a risk. And we could be caught out if we throw our dagger and don't kill it. We could just be sitting there with no weapon. But there are the hide rolls. And I think this is more interesting just for learning's sake. So let's go through the ambush steps. So the first round, we're staying hidden. And then we're going to swap out our battle axe for our dagger of bite. In the second round now, we're going to be ambushing him. So we're going to be doing a target. Then we're going to do the target step. We could have evaded him, and well, no, I mean, we're hidden, so we don't even need to evade. But if we were not hidden, we could do the evade step. Although we would fail, because our maneuverability is not higher than his. So we're going to target him. And now we're going to do our hero tactics. So we can apply up to 5 cubes across our shit. So 1 goes here. It doesn't really matter. But the only thing that matters here is attack speed to see if we auto hit. So our attack speed has to be higher than his maneuverability. And I actually didn't roll the first time to see if he flipped. Okay, so you roll a high die. If it comes up with the symbol, he flips. So this is his current state. And we have to assign it before knowing if he flips again. So now our attack speed matches his maneuverability, which means that we are going to have to roll to see if we hit him, which is a bummer, but he might flip again. And there's nothing else we can do. So we can apply 5 cubes. We've put down 4. I mean, I can put here for maneuverability, but it doesn't matter because we're ambushing him. Okay, so that's all the hero tactics. And now we're going to roll the hide die again to see if he flips back over, which would be good for us. He does not. So that's his stats. So now we do the resolving of the attacks. He does not do any attack, so we don't even need to compare attack speed, although I would go first. So now we need to see if we hit. And we're going to be rolling these hit dice. And how this works is if either die is blank, the attack misses. So 2 of the 6 sides on both of these are blank. Decent chance of missing that. Alright. Since we matched his maneuverability, that means that this symbol with the equal sign, that also counts as a hit symbol. If you are worse than his maneuverability, not equal, you have to get the regular hit symbols. So there is a good reason to match it, at least. But let's see what we get. Okay, so we got a blank. We miss our knife throw, unfortunately. And we do throw the knife. So that is over here in the clearing now. And at the end of the round, of course, we can equip a different weapon, but you don't get to pick up the thrown weapon until the end of combat, and that's if there's no monsters in the clearing. Otherwise, the thing is gone permanently. I'm not sure the exact narrative explanation there, but yes. Okay, so we're going to rearm with our battle axe. Then, so we skipped, obviously, multiple steps because we missed. And then we're going to do our hide action because we did try and hit him. So we're going to roll our hide dice again. We need 2 blanks to come up. Okay, we are still hidden. Although I don't think it matters unless we just want to avoid killing this thing entirely. And I don't know why we would do that. So now we have no other ranged options. So we're almost certainly going to become unhidden just to slaughter him. Because, yeah, I mean, we'll almost certainly will. So, we're going to become unhidden. You're no longer hidden. Which means you go through all the steps. So the monster's going to challenge me because I'm the only unhidden hero here. I can activate a permanent spell if I wanted, but I don't have any. I could attempt to evade, but I can't because I don't have enough maneuverability. He targets me, I target him, pretty simple. And then we place cubes. So I'm going to move maneuverability up here. And I think we're going to go for that. He only has he only has 2 health. So I need the 2 cubes. The sharpness is ignored because he's armored. And we want the 3 attack speed at the very least. Hopefully he flips, but we'll see. Okay. So all our cubes are placed. So now we're going to roll his die to see if he flipped. He does not flip. Bummer. We compare attack speed then. He has 2. That's the left brown number. I have 3, so even if I had 2, we would tie, and my weapon is longer than his claws. So I would go first still. So I didn't actually need to put 3 there, but yeah, whatever. I guess I could have put a 3rd in, but it doesn't matter. He has 2. It doesn't matter. This is it's deterministic. The only thing that's not deterministic is whether or not I hit him. So maybe I could have put maneuverability in, actually. Maybe that would have been smarter. Let's pretend I was smart. Although even that's not a factor unless he flipped. Yeah, no matter what, he's auto-hitting me if he survives this. Actually, wait a minute. No, I need that. 3 attack speed, his 3 maneuverability. So I do tie his... Oh, no. No, I need the 3 attack speed to get the equal sign on the hit roll. Yes. Okay. No, that all works. I was smart. Alright, so I go first. I'm rolling to hit. We got a blank, so I miss again. Great. And so now he goes. And his attack speed is higher than my maneuverability, so he auto hits. There's no dice roll for him. And he's going to be doing 1 damage to me. So here's where we go into all the damage steps. And again, the golden rule is that anytime a target is hit by an attack with an actual damage of 1 or more, it will either be killed or take a wound. That's a golden rule. And it's very important to remember that very little in the game lowers damage. Very few things in the game lower damage. So he's attacking for 1. It's 1. I mean, that's the amount of damage I'm going to take. And that means that I'm either going to take a wound or be killed. Full stop. I mean, that is going to happen. Don't think about armor, shield, and none of that. I am not reducing his damage, and therefore I am either going to take a wound or be killed. Okay? So then what does armor do? Primarily, armor, for me, as a barbarian, armor is going to prevent the damage from sharpness. But this target is not attacking with any sort of sharpness. It's just 1 damage, and that's it. So here we see on the right the steps for if we are going to use armor. So if the actual damage is higher than the number in the shield icon of the armor card, the armor is destroyed and you take a wound. Okay? So that's, pretty bad. But that means even if I take 40 damage, I can just sacrifice my shield and just take 1 wound, you know, instead of dying, basically. If the actual damage is equal to the number in the shield, the armor is damaged. And if it gets damaged again, then it's destroyed. Either way, I take a wound. If the actual damage is greater than 0, but less than the number on the shield icon, the armor is not damaged or destroyed, and I take a wound. Okay? So even though I have essentially, my armor is not even dinged by the damage I've taken, it's completely unaffected, I still take a wound. So in that case, like, the armor hasn't served much purpose. Or that's what it feels like. However, if you are not using armor, and you take damage that is greater than or equal to your health, you are dead. You are killed. And that's where these hearts come in, because that's your health. So if I ever take 3 or more damage without armor, I'm dead. So if an enemy hits me with 40 damage, like the fireball from an adult dragon or whatever, and I don't have armor, I'm dead. If I do use my shield, the shield is broken and I just take a wound. So that's a big factor, especially when you have very little health. Because if I have 1 health, 1 heart, like a rogue, I have to use armor against even this basic attack, otherwise I am fucking dead. If, however, you're not using armor and the actual damage is less than my health, which this is, all I do is take a wound. So in this case, whether I use armor or not is completely irrelevant, because the damage I'll be taking is less than my health of 3. And armor will have no factor on whether or not I take a wound. So I take a wound. Now, what is a wound? A wound is basically when you take any cube or heart and move it into the wounded section. And it's not usable then until you heal it. So obviously we're going to put our green magic cube that we don't care about in there. But eventually you may start putting hearts in there, and that's when it becomes a big factor. But as you become more wounded, obviously you have less cubes to put out there. And potentially you might not be able to use armor because you're not strong enough. You don't have enough might cubes to use it. Your attack speed might go down, you know, things like that. So long combats that drag out can become quite debilitating. But this overall system, while still capturing, I think, a lot of the same appeal of Magic Realm, is quite a bit more simplified and easier to understand. Because Magic Realm has different cubes, essentially, for, like, all your different values, 1 through 6, and, like, different, like, weights and stuff. It's just, I mean, it's cool, but it's so difficult to teach people. This is far easier to understand. Okay, so that was that, and that's the end of the round. We're both still alive. I took a wound, so, you know, combat obviously is still going on. And we go back to step 1. But blah, 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 blah. We're going to step 5, essentially. If I want to move any more cubes around, I don't. And we're really basically just hoping that he flips so I instantly kill him. And yes, he flips. Okay, so now he's got his default stats again, which is great, because now his attack speed is 1, so I go first. His maneuverability is 2, which is less than my 3 attack speed, so I automatically hit him. I'm attacking for 3 damage with sharpness. It bumps down to 2 because he's armored. I do 2 damage to him, which is equal to his health, and he dies. Now, if I did less damage than his health, he would take a wound, which would just lower his health by 1. Even if he has 5 health or whatever, or if he has 4 health and I did 3 damage, he would still take 1 wound, which reduces his health by 1, which is sort of like how players work. But there you go. Dead. We get 10 fame for killing him. And a job well done. Oh boy, that was a lot. Okay. So let's it's a new turn. We're going to complete a mission at the crypt. I think. Is that a... You have to do an action for that? I guess you do a trade action. Okay, fine. So we're going to do a trade action. So we remove decimation from the game. We acquire an outlaw token, sad to say. Here you go. We get 0 gold. We get 1 LP. We get 20 fame. Ho, 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 ho. And we're going to be rolling 2 mission dice because we have 2 intelligence. Alright, so we get an extra 5 fame and 7 gold. Fine, boom. So if I retire right now, living, alive, and end the game, I'd get an extra 6 LP for my fame, and 1 because I'm alive when I end the game. So I'd end with 13, which is technically a victory. So we could end right now and be done. Which I might do just because of time concerns. Because the other mission that... Well, actually, no, I wouldn't, because I am an outlaw, so I could potentially... well, that would lose 1 LP, potentially. And I'd still win, because we need 12 at least. But the other one is killing 2 giants. And to do that, I'd have to travel over here to the barriers. So that was my first action, second, third, fourth action, I guess. We got stench and return, so nothing. First action, move here, which is a cave, so now I only have 3 actions. Second turn, go here. Oh, and actually, hold on. I have to get a token. We have item. I think I just get an item. Yep. Just get an item. Alright, my item is a staff. Pretty useless. Okay, that's that. The second action will be to move here. Third action will be to go alert. Oh, and actually I got my dagger back because I killed him. Okay. I could rest at some point to get this green cube back, but whatever. Alright, let's roll summoning dice. I mean, let's just see if we get giants. That's mainly what we're looking for here. No. No, we didn't. So it's like, how long do I want to just sit here to maybe get giants? When we could just retire. Alright, let's spend the next turn. I'm going to heal this, so that's 2 actions, actually, to heal 1 cube. I'm going to go alert again. And then I'm going to... Let's roll a search. Okay. Then we're rolling summoning dice again. We got stench and mountain. So we are actually going to get juvenile dragon. 2 of them. Okay, well that's That's a fight on our hands. We could do the hide roll just to see. Oh, I actually do stay hidden. So if we wanted to just ignore this and go on our merry way, we could. But I also could ambush one. We could try that again. Alright, I really want this dagger bite to work. So we're gonna spend a round swapping this one more time. Second round, I'm gonna target... okay, well, first of all, no. The first round, left dragon flips. Right dragon doesn't flip. Okay. Then the second round, our ambush round, I'm gonna target... I mean, it's equal odds either way, right? That's how it's always been. So, yeah, I can target the right one because if he doesn't flip, I kill him. But it's equal odds either way, whether he flips or doesn't flip, the other dragon flips or doesn't flip. It's just psychological, man. But I'm staring down his numbers and I want it. So I'm going to target the right one. Left one doesn't flip. Right one doesn't flip. All right. Let's go. Also, I needed this here. Okay, then I throw my dagger at the right one. And my attack speed is 3. His maneuverability is 2. That's an auto hit. His armor removes 1 of my sharpness, so I do a total of 2 damage, which is enough to kill him. And I get 10 more fame. Okay. So, since that has occurred, I now have to roll a new hide. Although, it really doesn't matter. Alright, I stay in. So I could just leave this one if I wanted to end it. But no, I mean, that's not the barbarian way, is it? So we're gonna become unhidden. And we're gonna myrtleize him. Alright, let's see if he flips, which would be very nice for me. He does! Instant dead. We don't even have to think about it. Which is a great thing once you figure it all out in Magic Realm. Once you know things like that, and you're just like, yep, he's dead. Combat goes so much faster. And that's why if you play the digital version of Magic Realm, Realm Speak, things can happen very, very quickly. Often without you understanding it, you know? Because it just computates everything and just, blah, 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 oh, you're dead. And it's like, how did that happen? But there you go. And again, just for everyone's understanding, my attack speed is 3, his is 1, so I attack first. His maneuverability is 2, my attack speed is 3, so I automatically hit. I don't have to roll. I do 3 damage with sharpness, -1 because of his armor is 2 damage, and that equals his health, so he is dead. It's pretty simple. Or maybe it just seems simple to me compared to Magic Realm. But there you go, dead. Alright, and then I get my dagger back, and we're gonna go ahead and retire at this point. I mean, obviously we could keep going and get more LP and do the proper win, but this video's gone on long enough. So let's do all the retirement steps. Oh, I guess no, we don't want to retire right now. We want to go to a civilization spot. So let's not retire just yet. Let's search for this hidden path. Search 2. Probably could have just gone back the way I went. Search 3. Search 4. Fuck me. Alright. Well, maybe we'll find some giants after all. Caves and scratch is nothing. Search 1. Search 2. Search 3. Got it. But I can't move into the cave yet. So I guess I'll just stay alert. I'll stay alert. We got orcs and forests, so nothing. Alright. 1, 2, 3. I don't think I actually have to go to the keep, do I? Civilization location. Well, maybe I do have to go back to the keep. Oh well. We're fine. Yeah, we're fine. So now I retire, and I have to discard fame. So we get 8. So that bumps me up to 14, which is pretty good. So it says if we're retiring on the last turn of the game, but for this first scenario for solo, it's a max of 30 turns. So I guess, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could just sit here. We weren't tracking turns, but I could just sit here until the 30th turn. But the game ends when I retire, so I get a fucking LP for that. Then we roll 2 monster dice for each outlaw token we possess. Monster dice? What is a monster dice? I think they mean the hide symbol. I'm almost certain that's what they mean. Okay. If they both show a symbol, we gain an LP. If one shows a symbol, discard an LP. And if both are blank, no effect. Okay, then that's our total at the end. Actually, hold on. Before I do that, I could get this title. I have 30. Oh, no, it has to be higher than 30. No, I only have 30. Oh, well. So I was going to say I could sell my shit, get the 40 gold, and then hand it in. But I'm 1 off. Oh, well. It's fine. We got 15. We're a legend. Okay. So that is, it says here the keep is a safe haven from the monsters. So, yeah, as far as I understand it, no monsters ever appear on these tiles. Which is good. Nice safe spots. So that's Dragons Down. It's really good. I'm really excited. I think we're going to do some more videos for this. But next time, we're going to do a proper game with like 3 terrain packs. I've not done it yet, but we're going to do a proper game, proper setup. Maybe we'll throw in some magic in there or something. And yeah, we'll really kind of experience the whole game. Because I did go in on the Kickstarter for like the whole shebang. Because I'm quite excited about this. It's supposed to come out in October. We'll see. But yeah, good stuff. I just wanted to do this little baby scenario again just to kind of teach you the rules. But our human barbarian did well for themselves. Alright, my name is Mangg. Yeah, you're watching has been Dragons Down. And I'll see you fine folks in the next part.